I've been following you, and it's not just a case of you don't just live in a tent and that's it. Do you know what I mean? You built like a little. You built like I've got some pictures here. So this is you on an evening, and you were saying that that's your little bird feeding area. Yeah.
That's right.
And this is the light. You built yourself a little path. You've got your kitchen area. So you built yourself a home. Like a few of the people that I end up talking to and doing these with, I came across you on social media. I came across you on TikTok, and I'm instantly interested because you live off grid, and I was homeless for a long time, and I think a few of us have said from back in the day that if it was to happen again to us, it would be a totally different experience, and I would probably embrace it. And I think that I think my wife and I are going to end up living off grid anyway, and more people that I talk to are now saying they can see that happening as well. So just to clarify, you live in a tent, right? On a roundabout. We're not going to say where, for obvious reasons, because there's so many dickheads in the world. But I've been following you, and it's not just a case of you don't just live in a tent and that's it. Do you know what I mean? You built like a little. You built like I've got some pictures here. So this is you on an evening, and you were saying that that's your little bird feeding area. Yeah.
That's right.
And this is the light. You built yourself a little path. You've got your kitchen area. So you built yourself a home.
That's right. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. And I'm kind of doing this through choice, really.
Yeah.
Because I was walking the UK coast.
Right.
And I've been living in a tent while I was doing that. Mm-hmm. And I was out doing that for 2 years, and I had to bail and come back to Southampton because my children were suffering. Right. So I just felt I needed to be here for them.
Suffering without you there.
Yeah, they were just going. They needed my support. They're going through some difficult times. One of my sons was sort of really depressed and feeling suicidal.
How old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
My eldest boy is 25.
Oh, right. So they're adults. You didn't just sort of disappear.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've got my two youngest, 14 and 15. So, yeah, they needed me back as well, really, and it was taking so long. I didn't realise how much I was taking on because I was going around helping homeless people while I was walking. It was taking so long, and I was finding when there was quite a few homeless people, I was having to stay in that area to sort of build up a trust with them to be able to sort of let them open up, and then me be able to offer the right kind of help. So it was just taking so long, and I felt that I could probably do more for homeless people if I just came back to my hometown, set up somewhere, and invite other homeless people to stay in a safe area.
Right.
And that's still the plan. I'm just not quite there yet, so I'm just enjoying it, really, living.
Yeah, so what were you doing beforehand? Like what? Because I'm interviewing a guy coming up, and he's the same. He's gone off grid, and he was from a pharmaceutical background, 30 years working in pharmaceutical industry. So a professional, and just he got to 55. He's got his own story about COVID and it made him sack it off. But I've met a few people that live off grid that they're not your stereotypical, I was homeless and I've ended up like this. Like what you said, they've had professional backgrounds and they've got sick of it. And I think that's what's happening with my wife and me. We're looking to the future thinking, well, actually, there's so much stress that comes with trying to just be comfortable that I don't think I want to be paying extortionate bills. And I don't think I want to be paying, extortionate rent and just struggling the whole time. So yeah, what was you doing before this?
I was an engineer at Openreach for 9 years.
Right, okay.
Before that. In the telecoms industry.
Right.
Which I actually got sacked, which is a whole other story behind that. because basically I found on my iPhone there was a section on there that says you're not supposed to hold the phone to your head. You're not supposed to carry it in your pocket while it's on, or you get too much radiation.
Yeah.
And my health was really suffering while I was working there. And I put it down to the amount of use I had with the mobile phones, because I obviously had a work phone, my personal phone, and I was like streaming Wi-Fi from my work phone.
Yeah.
So I was constantly had two phones around me all the time, and one of them was streaming. So it was pretty high levels of radiation from that. And I kind of realized about it, and I went to the big bosses and I said, look, why are you giving us these phones without telling us this stuff that's in small print on everybody's phone? And 2 weeks later, I got sacked.
Do you know what's funny, right, is that pre-COVID, right, I would have brushed that off as conspiracy theorist nonsense and stuff.
Yeah.
And so would have a lot of my friends. Since COVID, everyone's like, well, no, I'm not going to write that off. You know,
no, well, the thing is, it's written in everybody's phone in the settings.
Yeah.
Under legal and RF exposure, it's on literally every Android and every iPhone, these warnings.
Right, okay. I'm gonna have a look.
So, you know, it's on your phone. Yeah. So you can find it in the settings. I think it's settings, legal, and then RF exposure.
Yeah, is it hard living like that, living off grid?
I think there are some parts of it are difficult, but you've got to consider, I haven't got any bills. I've not got a single direct debit. My only outgoings are my phone, which I just have a pay-as-you-go phone, and I top it up £30 a month, and that gives me 3 minutes and text and enough internet to last the month. So other than that, I've got to get my food and water.
What do you do for money?
I'm currently on benefits.
Right.
And yeah, so
yeah, so some people would argue that, you know, you're living for free off the taxpayer. I wouldn't, because I think fair play, get as much as you can.
Yeah, you know, no, totally. I mean,
the way that things have been, if you can get something, get something. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all having the piss taken out of us. So I think everybody would agree with that now. So
yeah.
But yeah, simple. Like, do you drink, smoke, any drug problems, anything like that, or, you know, just
no. I have dabbled in the past. I've had lots of problems with, you know, drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you follow me on TikTok or whether it's just me following you, but a lot of the stuff
I do follow you.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff I do is about drug and alcohol problems. But I think a reason that a lot of people, you know, slip into the drug and alcohol problems is because of the constant stress of living in a house. Do you know what I mean? And just how hard it is to just have what we want. You know, we want a normal life. Like, really, most people just want to go to work, right, and be able to afford to pay all their bills and have a bit of money left over to live comfortably. But it just seems impossible at the moment. So can I have a look at you? Are you allowed to show me around? Can you show me around?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. So this is my little area that I've got as my shading area in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I've got some carrots growing there, the bird feeder. Got some herbs here, some broccoli, mint, basil, some rosso, some chilies, some tomato plants, cucumber plant. There's my little bird area, the tent.
That's quality.
And I'm basically, this whole area was one big bramble bush. So I've hollowed out this entrance to start with, and then I just gradually cleared the whole area and started planting stuff. And
so are you quite hidden?
Yeah, very well hidden. No, you can't see into the roundabout from the outside, so it's quite well secluded.
Well, because I was saying that when you told me earlier that you live on a roundabout, I was like, yes, yes, because I go past roundabouts. There was a roundabout near me. I lived in Titchfield Park. I lived in, and
Yeah,
there was a
yeah, it's not
yeah,
far.
there was a big roundabout there. That again, you know, it's a large roundabout, and then it's just huge amounts of trees and bushes. And I would always think you could cut your way into there, right,
Yeah,
and build a little burrow, and nobody would know that you were there.
yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
it's like I was really happy when you told me that that's kind of what you're doing, because I've thought about it so much. So what was the other thing that I was just about? Has anybody stumbled across you by accident? Has anybody ever turned up without, you know,
I've
you've had
had
to?
I've had a couple of kids down here playing that spotted me, and I've had a
Yeah,
couple, a sort of youngish couple that I think they'd just come over here for a bit of privacy, and they
right,
spotted me as well.
right.
But other
But
than that,
no trouble.
just people that I've invited over here.
So no, you've had no trouble. You don't. You're armed.
No,
Daft question. Have you got like any kind of security that in case somebody comes along, or are you just
I
relaxed at all
mean,
times?
I'm pretty relaxed. I mean, I can protect myself.
Yeah.
I've got a security light. If I do get suspicious, if someone's around at night, I can put my little security light up, and there's a sensor on there, so it will light up the area where they're at.
You got any pets?
And pets? No, no. I've got. Uh, I say no pets. There's lots of mice down here,
Right.
lots of birds. Yeah, I kind of class them as my pets, really.
Yeah. So mentally, mental health wise, I should imagine that you're. I don't know. Like, are you in a good place most of the time? Do you ever get lonely? Do you know what I mean? Things like that.
I mean, yeah, you can do, but like I say, I've got friends around the area, so I don't really spend that much time on my own. But when I do, I'm quite happy to.
Yeah.
I suffered with mental health for it's got to be over 20 years, probably about 30 odd years. Um,
What kind? What do
so
you mean? What do you mean? Like just depression or?
depression and anxiety,
Yeah.
which since I've learnt meditation and a bit about health and
Yeah.
wellness and eating decent food, and the energy that you get from your food, um, I'm quite happy.
I'm very jealous. I am very jealous. No, I
Don't be
am. I really.
jealous.
You
Don't be
what? Sorry.
jealous. Don't
No,
be
well, no,
jealous.
yeah, jealous is the wrong word. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Like, as in, you know, because I've met people that live off grid before, right? And I've met two versions of people that live off grid. I've met people
Yeah,
that are doing it properly, and I've met people that I would just say, live trampy basically, and they're not
yeah,
looking after
yeah,
themselves, and there's no pride involved. You know, it's not really about living off grid. They just sort of can't be asked to live any kind of lifestyle, you know. So
yeah.
I met two separate people that were living on buses and they were next to
So
each other.
those people, I like to class them as they've given up on
Yeah,
society.
they've
They've
given up.
given
So
up
I
on
met
their
two
self
people
and
out of
society,
out in the
which I can
Glastonbury
understand
area.
that. I can understand that people get like that because
Well,
I mean, I've attempted suicide a couple of times back years ago when I was really bad.
yeah.
So I can
Well,
totally understand.
I'm not very good at looking after myself, if I'm being totally honest. I was never, when I was younger and I was in hostels and things like that, my room was always a tip.
Yeah,
I didn't wash as much as I should and things like that. I just wasn't very good at looking after myself. Got better as I
yeah,
got older, which there's I wonder if like part of the appeal to what you're doing is because I think that I'd be all right at it now. I think that, you know, I
yeah,
would keep myself healthy. I don't drink or smoke anymore. So, you know, there isn't the danger that I'm just going to get pissed all the time because I'm
yeah.
in recovery. So,
That's obviously that is a risk. If you were sort of still suffering with from alcohol and drugs and stuff, then you could probably find yourself in a dark place and you know going back down that road
do your
quite easily.
yeah. So that's what I was saying. I met a few people in Glastonbury that were living off grid, and actually there were two buses next to each other. And the one person that lived on one bus was a gentleman named Star. He was a lovely guy, and he did it properly. I went onto his bus, and I was like, I could very easily see myself living like that. He had a little log burner. He had solar panels on the roof. He had chargers there. You know, his bed was comfortable. The back of his bus he turned into a kitchen. It was all very nice. Behind him was a bus with this couple on, and it was disgusting. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing appealing about it at all. It was just pure, they just given up kind of thing and couldn't be bothered. And, you know, and that's why, I think more and more people are going to go down this route that you've gone down and live off grid, but look after themselves and build it all properly. I've got to put bits and bobs on. I know you showed us around because I love the kitchen area.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
I take it you built all of that yourself. You brought in the gravel and everything.
Yeah.
Bird feeder. And
that was quite heavy as well, that gravel, because I haven't got a car at the moment, so I'm just like on foot. Everything I bring here is carried on my back.
Well, so that's healthy though, isn't it? It's all exercise.
Yeah, totally. That's what I loved about the walk that I was doing. I was carrying like 55 kilograms around with me, between two big bags, one on my back and one in the front.
What's your toilet situation about, Aaron?
I've dug a big hole.
Yeah.
And I go in there and then I put dirt on top.
Old school,
and
long drop.
That's if I need to. I mean, I've got access to a toilet which is pretty close, so I normally just use the toilet. Yeah. There's a cafe near.
You go off and charge your phone and stuff, and
I've got a whole bunch of battery banks at the moment that I'm using for power. I either use cafes, friends' places, or I quite like to use the Weatherspoons. I don't know if you're aware, but they do free refills on hot drinks.
Yeah.
So you could get a coffee for £1 and stay in there all afternoon drinking coffee and charging up.
Yeah.
Which is probably cheaper than being at home charging up. You know, paying for electric.
Yeah, it will be.
It's cheaper to sit in Weatherspoons for £1 than it is to stay at home.
Yeah, and do the staff and everybody, have they got to know you and they sort of know what you're doing? Or
well, no. To be honest, I've not actually used the Weatherspoon since I've been back home. So, I mean, while I've been walking and I've been using different Weatherspoons, I've had my big sign on my back saying what I'm doing, walking 12,000 miles to raise awareness of mental health and homelessness. So I always had that with me when I was out. So, you know, generally I got a pretty good reception.
What would be your contingency plan if you fell ill or injured yourself or something? You know, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 46.
Right,
and I've got no idea what I would do if I injured myself. I would probably go with just get myself to a place where I could be picked up, and you know, I mean, bearing in mind I've got friends and family nearby.
Yeah.
So if there was an emergency, I can call people and they would come and give me a lift or pick me up, or you know.
Do your children visit you at home where you live? You know, because that is your home.
Yeah.
Do your children visit you and stuff? Or do they think?
Yeah.
Do they think it's cool? Do they think it's
mad? They love it. They think it's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you for too long. And yeah, I just want to say, like, I'm really, really impressed. I'm going to keep in touch because you never know. I might be down that way at some point. I get around the country.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome if you want to come over and camp, or you know, just come and say hi.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Don't tempt me, because I might make that a little mission to come down for a night and
go for it. Go for it.
Film when we're there. All right, listen, Aaron, I'm going to keep in touch. Like I said, I'll bang this up pretty much straight away. So
excellent.
You'll be able to watch it pretty soon, I should imagine. And yeah, thank you for taking the time out to speak to me, mate.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.